Hi everyone, it's Christy from Green Eyed Tarot. Today I'm here just to film just a little video sharing some of my thoughts about, in particular, our tarot community and just some recent conversations and some things that have come up in specifically the YouTube tarot community. And I'm not really going to get into the specifics or the topics that had brought up some controversy recently in the tarot community, but more so just about the tarot community in general and like the term community and sort of how maybe we can start to define community in terms of the space that we all occupy. And I think that it's important to note that you don't have to be a YouTube creator. You don't have to be someone who makes videos to be part of the tarot community. For a long time, I didn't make content on YouTube, but I considered myself a part of the tarot community just because I consumed YouTube videos. I followed YouTube tarot content creators. I got so much out of that, especially during the pandemic, and on Instagram, and just as being someone who practices tarot, I always considered myself a member of this tarot community that we have. So I feel like it's important for that to be speaking to everyone that's part of this community and not just people who make videos on YouTube. There is this thing called TarotTube, and that sort of encompasses all of the creators and people on YouTube who talk about tarot in one way or another. And that could be walkthroughs and deck reviews, and it can be actually, talking about the meanings of the cards and learning tarot and how we practice tarot and whatever you choose to share on YouTube in relation to tarot. And I feel like we're all part of that community, no matter how we choose to engage with each other or just with our own content. We're all part of that community. And so I am actually taking a course right now for work. It's for a credential that I'm pursuing. And so I'm in a course, and we were talking about diversity, equity, and inclusion, and anti-bias education as it really relates to early childhood. So the littlest ones. But we hit on something that really resonated with me in relation to our tarot community. And I really started thinking about all of this, this sort of controversy and all of this stuff that came up recently through a video that another creator posted. Like I said, I don't really want to get into the content because that's not what this is about. A lot of videos have been made in response and really trying to get dialogue going and people sharing their thoughts on it. And I think that's great. I feel like I don't need to add to the actual topic, that had come up, but just really want to focus more on the community, because to me, it was really more so upsetting to see, people referring to as a community, with quotation marks, because are we really a community? And I just hate to think of all these wonderful people and just all of these people that I've gotten to connect with or just follow, even if they don't know I exist, I know they exist. And I don't want to think of it as something as we're like not really a community. We're sort of just operating in this illusion that we are. But so we started talking about safe spaces and like what that means, and how we can sort of start to reframe safe space and turning them into brave spaces, which I just love this idea. I was captivated by it. I had never heard a comparison of a safe space and a brave space. Like safe space I've heard used in a lot of different contexts, especially as we're talking about diversity and equity and inclusion and what that means in different spaces in our society. Like I said, I'm coming at it from a perspective of education because that's the field that I'm in, and child development and things like that. But as it relates to our tarot community, a safe space I feel like I want to. So first of all, a safe space is great, and having safe spaces for people. I'm not saying that's not something that we should strive for, but maybe reframing it to make it a brave space, to make our tarot community a brave space. So when we say safe space versus brave space, so a safe space, in those spaces when you interact with people, you agree to disagree, which some may think, hey, that sounds like a very diplomatic way of thinking about things and talking about things, is agreeing to disagree. But really, agreeing to disagree is not so much a win-win. It's more of a lose-lose for everyone, because instead of actually hearing each other, and actually opening our minds and really be open-minded, it's sort of shutting people down. Well, we're just going to agree to disagree and leave it at that. And like I said, that may be a diplomatic and very calm and logical way to just say, I don't agree with you and I'm going to agree to disagree respectfully. And sometimes not so respectfully, as we've seen, recently. So agreeing to disagree, that's what we do in a safe space, and that may work. For me, I feel like we can take it a step further, and that's what we were talking about in this class, is between a safe space and a brave space. So I like the idea. This came up that instead of agreeing to disagree, we have controversy with civility. So it's okay if those conversations come up. It's okay if you don't agree with someone. It's okay if you have really strong feelings and reactions to something that somebody says. So we can have that controversy that we just saw a few weeks ago in our tarot community. We can have that with civility. I think what we're missing in some respects is the civility piece. And that could just be my opinion as well. And please, this is just my take on this, but I really started thinking about this a lot in relation to what had just happened. And just, it took me a few weeks to really kind of sit with it and think, how do I want to react? And this is my response. My response is just thinking about the tarot community as a space. And this is not something that I've developed. This is just me sharing what I've learned in this course. And in a safe space, they talked about we don't take things personally in a safe space. But then again, so much of what we do with tarot is personal, especially tarot, and like how we feel about tarot and our feelings about it. And then also our feelings about all of the things that come along with being on YouTube and being like, so that piece of it and just being part of that community. So things are very personal. And sometimes as Tarot 2 creators, we're sharing things that are very personal. So some people may choose to share many things about their personal lives and some may not. And that's all basically everyone's choice. That's your choice. But to say we're not going to take things personally is difficult, because so much is personal. And as someone who uses tarot as something that's a connection to really that human experience, personal and feelings is all part of that. So to say in this safe space, we're not going to take things personally, again, I feel like it sort of takes away that dialogue and that really, really that back and forth, that that being able to learn from each other, and then also learn how our own thoughts and feelings can change, and perspectives can change. So in the brave space, you own your intentions and your impact. So really being accountable for what you say and being intentional with how you say it. And then after you say it and put it out there, what your impact could possibly be. Or just owning that you may have an impact. It may be a strong impact. You may strike a chord with someone. And so you're owning your intention and your impact. What was your intention and what impact did you have on this individual person and this individual person, or on our community as a whole? And so in a brave space, instead we own that and we take responsibility and we're accountable for that. And we understand that it could have a ripple effect. But we can have that controversy with civility instead of just agreeing to disagree. In a safe space, we're challenged by choice. So we have a choice, if we want to be challenged. We can, in a safe space, because it is a safe space, and again, that's okay, we can shut down, and anyone can choose to end an interaction if it feels toxic or feels negative or just is really impacting them in a way that's not healthy for them. Of course. But in a brave space, we challenge ourselves. So instead of being challenged by choice, we're really, sometimes we don't have the choice and we're challenged no matter what. We feel that challenge, and sort of inviting that in and accepting, being challenged by things. Sometimes we watch a video that really triggers us and challenges us to think, what was that person really saying? What was their intention? Are they thinking about, are they being accountable for their impact? How can I then intentionally respond with civility and respect? In a safe space and a brave space, respect is the bottom line. So that's the same whether you have a safe space or what we can call a brave space. And brave spaces may make people uncomfortable. But it's almost like we get to the truth in a brave space. Things are going to make you uncomfortable in a brave space, but if we make our tarot community a brave space, then we can be uncomfortable while remaining respectful. And it's almost like in a brave space, it's things that we need to hear in order to get to the truth. And it could be your truth or someone else's truth or a universal truth or just any type of truth, so that really true dialogue and learning and a give and take with each other can really happen. And when we have a brave space in the class, we talked about how it amplifies voices. So maybe voices that don't get heard enough or need to be heard more. We need to hear more from people. So even if it's something that we don't necessarily agree with, if someone's posting something on their channel in our tarot community, it's because they are something they want to share, and it could be therapeutic to them. It could be something that's just by making the video, even if 3 people watch it, it was something that allowed them to work through feelings or ideas, or just something that they're trying to explore within themselves, and not really, meant to hurt anyone else or, to have a huge impact on someone else. Maybe it's just something they're working through. And maybe we need to amplify that instead of trying to squash, that voice that's really trying to ask, is it this or this? Do I have a shopping addiction, or am I just poor? Right? That was the video that sparked it all. And maybe that's just literally I'm asking that question out loud and trying to work through that. And do I have a problem? Do I have a problem with consumerism, or am I okay with it? I feel like this is right. And you're always going to have people on both sides. You're also going to have people who certain things trigger something with them, and maybe they're not ready to face certain things. Maybe they really do feel like, nope, this is fine. In my life, this is fine. I don't see this as an issue. And that's fine for you. But respectfully and having that civility with that controversy and understanding that we need to amplify certain voices so that we can hear what they're saying. They need to be heard. And then in the brave space, another example of the difference between safe and brave was, calling each other to truth. Again, that piece of truth, where we're really calling each other to challenge what's inside of us, which is difficult when we have things that may be unconscious that we don't not even aware of, that we may need to work through ourselves, and just holding each other accountable for that truth. And a brave space allows us to challenge what we think we know. So in our tarot community and just thinking about different things, there may be something where, you know what? maybe I was wrong about that, and I can learn from this different perspective, or at least take pieces of it and sort of incorporate it into my own thinking, an ideology about something. In a brave space, it's not perfect. But together we work on it. We build it together. It's something and that's the community piece, right? We're a tarot community, so together we strive to make it better. We listen, more than we talk. And then we do talk. We own our intention for what we say and our language and our message, and we own that it's going to have an impact, and we recognize it. And when we make mistakes, we recognize it and we own it and we edit it, and we make our intention more clear. We clarify our intentions. There's time and space for that when we have a brave space. So that's just my little insight and just my thoughts on really sort of calling the tarot community into a brave space, or a braver space, and not just making it a safe space for people, because I feel like when we say this is a safe space and then we attack each other, it's not so much a safe space anymore. Someone's not going to feel safe, and then that's when they start to shut down and not share their perspectives sometimes, or it becomes angry and disrespectful and uncivilized, rather than having that controversy and being civilized about it, and not being hurtful, not moving away from, and sort of making it about what it isn't about. So that's all part of owning your intention and your impact. And then there was this great quote by Dr. Rosemary Allen, and it was, "Aware is halfway there." And that might not be the full quote, but aware is halfway there. So when you become aware of your own triggers, when you become aware of things that you're dealing with that may not have anything to do with this other person over here, and maybe you're projecting that on someone else, or just being aware of all of it, your attitudes and your beliefs and bias that's unconscious, implicit bias that just lives in every corner of our society and our world. Unconscious and implicit bias is something that's hard to identify and hard to work through, but it's got to be acknowledged, and being aware of it, that's half the battle. Being aware that it exists and that, there's all sorts of bias, that aware is halfway there. So just being aware of that. And so those are just my thoughts on maybe moving from a safe space, and obviously having it always be safe, but moving to a brave space where it's okay when people are brave and talk about things that are really hard to talk about, or bring their personal into it. And then we have the people who are brave enough to listen and disagree, but brave enough to speak their truth in a civilized and respectful manner. I think that we have a wonderful tarot community, and I think it's not perfect, but together, again, we can work on it, and we can sort of bring it there, and make this just a really great space for all of us to be members of, and to continue to grow and learn from each other, and just have that connection that some of us don't have in our real lives, and this could be connections that we have in relation to this big thing of tarot, and no matter what it means for you, like I said. So those are just my thoughts. Please, if you disagree with me, I so invite controversy with civility in my comments. Respectful discourse is, I'm always open to that. So if anyone would like to comment, I like I said, I welcome it, and I just hope everyone remains members of this community, because I feel like the more passionate and creative people we have, the better we're off. So I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye.